Welcome to the 10-8 Boxing Podcast, where the punches never stop and the excitement is always ringside. Get ready to step into the world of boxing like never before. Join us as we dive deep into the stories, strategies, and showdowns that make boxing the ultimate sport of champions. From knockout interviews with legendary fighters to ringside roundups of the biggest matchups, we've got you covered with expert analysis and insider insights. So lace up your gloves, grab a ringside seat, and get ready to experience the thrill of the fight. This is the 10-8 Podcast. Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Norms, and this is the 10-8 Podcast. We talking boxing 24/7, 7 days, well, 5 days a week, and whatever. We're doing it. But anyways, appreciate the support I've been getting from people. We're going to continue to build this, finishing up the studio and things of that nature. But I got to say, I just read an article that I enjoyed, and it kind of confirmed a lot of the things that I was thinking about in regards to this Canelo thing and things that I've been saying that people may have been like, oh, you're bugging out and things of that nature. And basically, the article with Robert Garcia was saying that, so let me actually pull it up real quick on this thing. It says, Canelo's pride trumps fans' demand, right? Pretty much Canelo wanting what he wants in this situation in regards to, taking this fight. And he was saying in the article that, 20 million more than Munguia is not going to get him to fight a more dangerous fight in regards to David Benavides. And again, guys, listen, Benavidez is very, very talented. We all get that. You know what I mean? He's the fight everybody wants to see. But somebody like Canelo Alvarez 100% understands what it's going to take or what he values that fight to be. It's the biggest risk of his career for years. And, of course, we open right up with Canelo's ducking. No, I don't believe Canelo's ducking at all. To be honest, I believe Canelo is going to do what Canelo's going to do in regards to the best interest. And at the same time, Canelo's like, yo, I'm not going to reward somebody that's been taking shots, been saying certain things and things of that nature, like Benavidez. And he acknowledges that. And, 20 million more is not enough in his eyes. And I kind of agree with it. And I said this for the longest. I'm like, listen, Canelo Alvarez is a businessman. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars in regards to boxing. He has multiple gas stations, businesses, all types of things that are going on in his life. So he's making money. Everything that he's doing at this point in his career is got to make sense. And not every fight is equal. You're not going to pay what you're going to pay to watch John Ryder versus Canelo, then the same thing to fight Canelo versus Benavidez. And that reflects in ticket sales and everything that goes on. And Canelo understands that. He understands it. And I know a lot of the fans are frustrated. They want to see it. They want to say, oh, he's ducking. We're going to continue to say these things. But Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion, is making the right decision. He's making the best decision for him. And in this Robert Garcia interview, I think it is Robert Garcia. He's saying, he was basically giving his thoughts on the Canelo thing. And, he was saying, guaranteeing him 60 million, right? Which is 55, 60 million, which is 20 million more than Munguia. Is it worth the risk? You can go fight somebody else for that. And I think he's envisioning, Canelo's envisioning possibly over $100 million guaranteed before he were to get to pay-per-view buys and things of that nature. And this is what Canelo's doing. He's 33 years old. You know what I'm saying? It's a risky fight. It's a big fight that everybody wants to see. And he understands that people are going to spend money. They're going to spend money. He's going to want and again, guys, listen, he's the one risking his life in this situation. He's the one that's got to get in. And you're paying him 35 to fight this guy, Munguia. You're paying him 30 to fight some of these other guys. This is the biggest fight that can be possibly made in boxing today. Period. You know what I mean? Period. This is the biggest. What fight is bigger than him fighting Benavidez right now? and he understands the value of it. And this Robert Garcia interview is pretty good. You guys should check it out. He says 20 million difference isn't enough, right? He goes and says, I don't want to say he's ducking because Canelo's not afraid of him. Canelo is more about pride and F everybody, right? I'm not going to give you guys the fight you want, said trainer Robert Garcia to the 21 Boxing TV YouTube channel, talking about Canelo ignoring the fans by choosing not to fight Benavidez. For Canelo, a $20 million difference isn't going to change his life. He's already worth hundreds and hundreds of millions, said Robert, about Canelo receiving $20 million extra from what he's getting from Munguia, a fight to face Benavidez. It's not enough of a difference in pay for Canelo to view it as worthwhile. If Canelo were to fight Benavidez for an extra 80 to 100 million, what he's getting for Munguia class, it would make sense for him to take that match. That's how it is, though. So it's not worth it for Canelo to fight him because the reward isn't there. For Canelo, it's like a young kid, a promoter is offering him $10,000 a fight, a $20,000 fight for a very difficult fight. I'd rather take the $10,000. And I think Robert is reiterating what I've been stating for the longest. I've been stating this for the longest. Canelo, listen, it's not like the major sports where these guys are contracted throughout the years. He's getting 5 years, 150 million, or 7 years, 300 million, whatever it is. He's not getting that. Okay, this is based upon the value of that current event, and this current fight is worth a lot. People want to see Benavidez win, fight him, and a lot of people want to see him win. So Canelo understands the risks of fighting the younger, bigger, strong fighter of David Benavidez. And again, I've been saying this for the longest. People are like, oh, he turned down 40 million. I said it last year when they did it. Hey, they're going to go up to 60. They're going to continue to go up. This is a fight that these networks need. And then you got to think about it. No Showtime no more. Now there's a lot of streaming networks in there. You got Amazon, it's a $1 billion company. We just watched Netflix. We don't even know the bag that Netflix actually gave for Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. And apparently it's an insane bag, okay? We're looking at a situation where Canelo can put himself, and I think Benavidez needs to think like this as well. He was like, oh, I'm ready to do the fight for $5 million. I'll take the minimum. And in my head, I'm like, you might not want to think like that, Benavidez. You should be thinking, let me get a little more than that. Because at the end of the day, yes, this is the biggest fight you're ever going to have. But this is also the biggest opponent that you're going to have to where you can make this type of money. There is no other name out there that Benavidez can draw this type of money with. So to me, it's a smart business decision in regards to Canelo. And this is another thing. Let me keep reading, and this makes a lot of sense. He said PBC won't be able to come up with the dough for Canelo to entice him to fight Benavidez, which means the only way the match will happen is if the Saudis are interested in seeing this, or will they? Probably not. Now, the Saudis are paying for a lot of heavyweights, and that's what he says. And he was saying that the Saudis are paying a lot of money for the heavyweights. But these streaming platforms, the Netflix, the Amazons, they got the money. And Canelo is the name. They want to hit the ground running, and they want these major events. And what bigger event would that be? If you're Reynoso, if you're Canelo Alvarez at this point, you can't sell yourself short, especially with all these companies that are multi-billion-dollar companies, right? These streaming companies that have a shitload of money. You're talking about, I think, doesn't Amazon or they own Twitch? They own there's so much out there money-wise. You have to test the market. You have to go out there and say, listen, I'm gonna throw this in the air. What's up? Let's make it happen. And listen, again, there is not a bigger fight to be made. One of my friends hits me on Facebook. Oh, he's a cherry picker. He's fought everybody. How can you call this man who has the absolute best resume in boxing today? There's nobody that even comes close. A cherry picker. When this man has a better resume than everybody. The energy that people send to Canelo's way, and Canelo sees this, you can tell he pays attention to everything, isn't equally distributed amongst the pound-for-pound fighters that are out there. A lot of people got Bud Crawford as number one, yet he refuses to fight Boots Ennis. He's going to fight Chris Eubanks Jr., and nobody's complaining about that. It's an absolute dog shit fight. You can fight Teofimo. Gervonta Davis fighting Frank Martin. He could have fought You can afford Teofimo. You can afford Devin. A lot of these fights, a lot of these same people that are voicing their displeasure with Canelo aren't keeping it 100. And Canelo is the bag, and Canelo understands business to a point where he understands that these platforms that are now appearing in boxing are multi-billion-dollar platforms that want this. So I don't believe it's ducking at all. I just believe Canelo is gonna want. He's gonna want groundbreaking money for this. Most boxers don't get the opportunity that Canelo has today to get such a big fight, to get such a big paycheck. Listen, Floyd did it all those years. Who else has done it but Floyd? Canelo. No one else can actually say they've done it. Canelo is the only one. You could say Javante's doing it now. Shout out to Jake Paul, but he brought back to boxing, and now we're getting pay-per-views. But now companies are more willing to invest. We just watched Netflix again, like I said, come in and give us that Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. And again, they didn't even disclose the bag. This bag has got to be crazy because I don't see any situation where Mike Tyson would have took this fight if it wasn't, or even Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul has that type of respect for Mike Tyson. And I'm just being honest. Netflix is launching this with that. So there's so much money out there that these boxers should be trying to take advantage of. And Canelo, just because he has the money, if you look at the overall of boxing, most of these guys aren't making nowhere near that. If you look it up, I think on Google, it says the average boxer makes $30,000 a year. I know a lot of broke boxers, a lot of them, male and female, broke. They're not making that type of money. They're working jobs. So when you see an opportunity like a Benavidez fight, and you got to think about it, how many fights are this big? You have to capitalize off of it. And 20 million more is not enough, in my opinion, for Canelo or Benavidez to sign off. And this goes for David Benavides as well. Your main thing should be, get in contact with that camp and making this the biggest payday you can have. You want it to be 95 to whatever 5% of what you want to get. That's on you. But there's no guarantee that Benavidez gets another opponent of this magnitude afterwards. Just because, let's just say he goes and beats Canelo Alvarez. Let's just say, okay, Bivol beat him. He didn't become the cash cow. Canelo was still the cash cow. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't work that way. Just because you beat a certain individual doesn't make you take his place in the sport. There's got to be other things going on. And as much as I love watching Benavidez, after Canelo, do we believe that him fighting Bivol is going to be as big or big? I mean, there's not even a lot of competition after that. So to me, I think even Benavidez has to look at the situation a little differently. Timothy says it builds your legacy, though, Norms. Legacy doesn't equate to money. There's a lot of guys with great legacy that are broke in boxing, in sports. Legacy don't pay the bills. Legacy didn't pay my bills. Okay? And that's just the facts. I get the legacy thing. Canelo's legacy is cemented, bro. It's cemented. He's an effing Hall of Famer. First ballot. He's arguably the greatest Mexican fighter ever. He's arguably top 10 fighter ever. His legacy is cemented. He's probably rich beyond his. Listen, he's probably financially set. But at the end of the day, you have to take every opportunity to make this money. And again, this isn't only about Canelo. This is to David Benavidez. Benavidez, this is an opportunity for you to be paid like you should be. Because there's no guarantee after Canelo. Let's say Canelo says, all right, I'm done after this fight. Win, lose, or draw. Right? Let's just say. Who do you fight that brings you that type of bag afterwards? There's nobody else but Canelo. Benavidez not going to bring you $50, $60 million. It's just not going to happen. People aren't going to pay for that. Listen, Canelo is the cash cow. He is the face of boxing. You have to understand that. And I think David Benavidez needs to take a page out of Canelo's book. And I get it. But it's a business. Even when Manny fought Floyd, it took way too long, absolutely. And it made me disinterested in the fight. Okay? But they both made well over $100 million in the fight. Then $100 million dollars in the fight. Then Floyd went on and fought McGregor. You got to make financial decisions that are gonna make sense for you. And I think Benavidez may not have, and I get his strategy. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm making already good money. There's good money, and then there's Canelo money. Okay, and I believe he needs to reevaluate that situation and do it. Listen, just getting the fight isn't enough, in my opinion, for David Benavidez. There's no guarantee of big fights after that. How many big fights in the last 10 years that have generated this type of money? A lot of them were Floyd fights, okay? And Canelo had Triple G. Benavidez now has the opportunity with Canelo to make, in my opinion, hundreds of millions of dollars at this point. So I think he has to reevaluate the situation as well, reassess it in regards to, you want this to be the most financial, at least at this point in your career, the biggest bag of your life, because what other opponent is going to bring this big of a draw for you? So I'm not mad at Canelo Alvarez. Somebody said you need to start to build your resume like Mayweather versus Canelo. Yes, but just because he's a star doesn't make mega millions. I get that. Listen, he's a star. Listen, Benavidez is a star already. Okay, there is no one that's going to bring him this amount of money to him like Canelo. You know what I mean? So he said, I didn't even know the Boxing Voice was on. I thought the Boxing Voice was on at 9:00. Shout out to those guys, but I'm not concerned with it. I'm building my thing. I definitely appreciate the advice. Boxing IQ 360. I'll eventually get there. You feel me? But I'm not focused on that right now, man. You got to crawl before you walk, baby. But listen, this is just the name of the game, man. And I just want to do this quick show, just to get guys going, understanding that I'm going to be doing this a lot. But listen, I'm not mad, man, at Canelo falling back, and I hate, listen, my man Debo, he hits me on my inbox yesterday, and Debo's always been he's always been a hater, and there's a lot of guys that just won't look at the facts. Oh, this guy's he's this, he's that, because he won't fight this guy. Listen, sometimes the risk isn't as great as the reward. Now, and this is just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's look at the boot situation with Crawford. Crawford messed up his bag by destroying Errol Spence the way he did. He's coming up to 160 to chase Canelo, not anything else. He wants that bag to fight Canelo. He understands Canelo's the bag, okay? But his big fight right now is Boots, but it's too big of a risk for him right now. And it's not a big financial gain for him. So he's trying to get to Canelo, And I just don't see people talking about that. And I'm like, bro, I get it. This guy's not a big enough star yet. So, somebody said, Timothy said, that's why we want the fight is needed for legacy on both parties. No, Canelo's legacy, bro, he's cemented. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. Period. There's no going around that. His legacy, there is nobody in boxing today that has a better resume. He's fought guys like Miguel Cotto, Shane Mosley, Floyd Mayweather, Triple G. There's not anyone in boxing today that can trump his resume outside of maybe a Manny Pacquiao, who's an 8-time world champion, a division champion. That will never be, that record will never be beaten. You know what I'm saying? That's why I actually got Manny as arguably the best fighter ever. You know what I mean? But these guys' legacies are not at risk. His legacy is not at risk. Canelo is one of the only guys that can say, listen, I fought almost damn near everyone, Timothy says, Crawford should have took Boots, or should they Crawford should have took Boots, or should they will pay that? No, he's not going to get, listen, and Tim, and this is what I'm trying to tell you. Boots is too big of a risk for Crawford at this point. The money is not going to equate what he can get if he fights Canelo. So he goes to 160, says, hey, listen, I'm going to beat Chris Eubank. We all know he's going to beat Chris Eubank. His camp knows who Chris Eubank is. They've sparred with Chris Eubank. Whatever. That's his buddy. I don't know. Whatever. They know he's going to win at 160. And then now you can say, oh, it's only 8 pounds now, 168. What's Canelo's excuse? Now Canelo has Crawford, and he had, you know what I'm saying? So he'd rather go take the risk of fighting Canelo and losing than fighting and taking a risk and losing to Boots, because if he loses against Boots, he's not getting Canelo. That bag is out the window, okay? He's not getting nowhere near the amount of money that he would get for fighting Canelo. So I get Crawford. That's why I don't critique him as much in that situation, because I know it's a financial move. The man is about to be 36 years old. How much longer can he fight? So I get the move, and that's a problem with boxing. You know, a lot of these guys, it's not like they got a salary. If they don't take care of themselves, nobody's going to take care of them. So I'm not even mad at Buck Crawford. And that's just the facts. But what if he never gets Canelo? Canelo can just say, I don't want to fight him. I'm good. Then what? You still got to do what's best for you. So let's say he gets to 160. Floyd Mayweather came out and said, why don't he fight Benavidez? I don't think he should fight Benavidez. Benavidez is way too big. You think Canelo's big. Canelo's not that big. He's probably about the same size as Crawford. But he's just been at 168 longer. He's stronger than Crawford. Benavidez is probably walking around at 200 pounds. He's about 6'3". He's a big boy. But still, he's going to take the risk. He doesn't have much of a window. So if he's going to make his chess move, it's now to get to Canelo. And that's what people don't understand. Bud is making that move to fight Chris Eubank just to set up a possible Canelo fight. Look, and he's going to knock out Chris Eubank, okay? I believe he is. So if he knocks out, let's just say he knocks out Chris Eubank, okay? Now you turn around and be like, yo, not only did he go to 160 and win, but he looked dominant and he put up 160. You know, that's what the I wouldn't say the hardcore fans going to say, but a lot of people say, well, it's only 8 pounds now, and Crawford can sell that fight. He's not going to fight Boots. I don't think he's ever going to fight Boots, to be honest with you. I think he's really gunning for the Canelo fight. He understands the type of bags that Canelo is giving these people, and that's just real shit. You know what I mean? Somebody said the money is the root of all evil in boxing. But you got, Tim, let's talk about the money. The average salary in boxing is $30,000. I know a lot of boxers that struggle, work regular jobs, like literally fucking, excuse my language, working DoorDash and working Uber. These are professional athletes, bro. It's not like in the NFL when you get drafted and guys are, you know what I'm saying? Guys are getting millions of dollars a year. Some of these guys aren't cracking 6 figures at all. You know what I mean? It's and you know what, Timothy, it's crazy because I was talking to this guy named Carlos, this was about 2 months ago, and he was telling me, like, bro, like, you don't even need an amateur career to be a pro, and Jake Paul proved that. You don't. You fill out a license, you take a physical, you're a pro boxer. Difference with him is he's a fucking star. He has a name. Okay? So if you're not signed a top-ranked Golden Boy Mayweather Promotions, you're pretty much on your own. There's more independent fighters out there that are broke than guys that are making money. I just had an interview with a couple of guys that work. One guy tells me, I forgot, check the interview on the page when you guys get a chance. He came out and he was like, yo, like, I work out on my lunch break. Like, literally on my lunch break. Can you imagine if Tom Brady had to work a regular job and not train on you? Do you understand the type of football that you would be getting during football season when these guys would have to work part-time? You'd be getting the XFL. And that's the thing with boxing. And not only that, these guys are risking their lives. So I think people got to understand when it comes to the financial aspects of this thing, it's a little different. Hold on, y'all, 1 second. Yeah. And listen, that's why when I look at Canelo, when I look at Benavidez, I'm looking at Benavidez like, nah, bro, listen. You may say certain things, but you don't know if that check is going to be guaranteed. I get it. You want Canelo now. You want him now. I would not take the minimum if I was Benavidez. I'm sorry. Just to have the opportunity, there's no guarantee that you supplant him as the face of boxing. Bivol beat him. A lot of people think he beat him convincingly. People are still paying to see Canelo. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It's no guarantee, man. There just isn't a guarantee. So, and again, I mean, I think Benavidez is going to do well for the long run because he's an exciting fighter. He fights, he fights to knock you out. He's not a guy that's boring. He's a very exciting fighter. I think he's going to continue to grow, and his fan base is going to grow. But all I'm saying is this: don't think that you're going to have a star be equal with you at one point. Listen, Roy Jones, for years, he never had his equal to ever bring his back up to a certain level, and that's just the facts, And if you're excuse me, excuse me, if if you're a boxer, you have to think of these things, and that's why I said, like, with Canelo, I love what Canelo's doing. And I know he's getting a lot of criticism from a lot of people out there. And people are going to say, well, you're a Canelo fan. You're a Canelo fanboy. I'm a hardcore Canelo fan, but I also love Benavidez. I think Benavidez is a star. I think he's a great fighter. I love watching him. He brings it all the time. I just want to see both of these guys take advantage of the sport. And they're both Latino. I'm going to be hot biased in this situation. I want to see my brothers get paid. Period. We don't get a lot of breaks when it comes to this shit. So, to me, I think people have to take that into consideration in this fight. But I do believe it's going to happen. But these networks are going to have to go into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Or at least for Canelo. Canelo's not going to say, oh, I'll take $50 million. He doesn't care. Canelo's like, listen, pay me my money. You giving me 35 for Munguia? What's Benavidez worth to you? And I believe it's going to be over 100 million. Guaranteed. That's just guaranteed. Canelo is not going to take a situation. And I love this article with Robert Garcia. You guys should definitely check it out. I've seen it it's on Bleacher Report, but there's a video of it. I didn't get to watch it, And again, look, they're talking about the Saudis, and they're saying the Saudis are paying the heavyweights to fight, right? And, it is what it is. He also goes into the Munguia fight, but now that Canelo picking Munguia after where he said he would never fall in a fight a Mexican, that's probably a good start because Canelo broke that wall. There was a lot of Mexicans, once he put that, eliminated Munguia out of the picture. Now that's out. He's fighting Munguia. He's fighting one of his people, which is going to bring up one of his people, which is a good thing. Same thing with, Benavidez. I don't think it's personal with Benavidez. Even though Benavidez, I feel like Canelo is a prideful dude. It's like, yo, this guy's talking shit about me. Doesn't know me. You know what I'm saying? And there's an honor amongst men. And I've even seen, Benavidez is a cocky, he's trying to get the fight however he can. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? I love everything about Benavidez, but he's got to get his money too in this situation. I don't feel like he should go out there and take the minimum to fight Canelo. That's just me. Now, how does that slow up the fight? I don't know. But I believe that's what it is. But I do believe, and I'll put money on it, I believe this fight doesn't happen in September. I think it happens next Cinco de Mayo. That's what I believe. But I'm not mad at Canelo Alvarez, guys. You guys cannot, you know what I'm saying? Like, be mad all you want at Canelo. But when you hear Amazon Prime, it's a big thing. Robert says, Robert is making a big leap by thinking that Canelo's fight against Munguia means he will potentially face Benavidez next. That's not going to be the case unless PBC comes up with the money to make it worthwhile for Canelo. And it doesn't appear that they have the financial means to do that without Amazon Prime. And that's what I'm saying. Amazon Prime has the money. And if you know Amazon Prime, they're all about the digital imprint. And there is not one boxer out there that has the digital imprint that Canelo Alvarez has. And everybody, I don't care if you're black, white, Chinese, Latino, whatever it is, wants this fight. This is the biggest fight. And Canelo Alvarez is not going to take one penny less than what he believes he's worth. And that's what it is. That's what it is. I believe, and again, I think Canelo's going to fight him. I think Canelo's going to end up fighting Jake Paul. Like, I really believe all of this is going to end up happening. I believe he's going to fight Terrence Crawford. I really still believe he's going to fight Terrence Crawford. I think Bud Crawford is going to go to 160. He's going to knock out Chris Eubank, put a lot of pressure on Canelo, and Canelo's just going to say, all right, how much money are you going to pay me? I believe he's set himself up for a few $100 million fights. just same way Floyd did when he fought Manny Pacquiao. Then he followed, and then he ended his career fighting McGregor, got making buku money, $100 million. I'm not surprised that Canelo does the same exact thing. And I think when it comes to the tail end of your career, how much longer will Canelo fight? Will it be 4 years, 5, 3? We don't know. But what I do know is, in my opinion, Canelo is going to get as much money possible from these situations, and he's going to use his independence and these networks that are coming in and bid against each other. That's just what it is. And listen, just because Benavidez is going to fight, I can't even say the guy's name, Davidic, who's actually managed by Reynoso, doesn't mean you're going to lose interest. Now, if he takes a bad loss to like a Bivol or a Benavidez, I don't know how much. I think it kind of gives Canelo an out in that fight. To be honest with you, it is what it is. Barring a knockout, barring him getting knocked out, I still see people wanting to see it. You know, also Garcia says if you look at the way things are looking, Canelo's team anyway also manages and promotes Alexander, because I can't even say his name. He's Canelo's main sparring partner for 2 or 3 years in a row, and Alexander Gazug is one fighting David Benavides. That's Benavidez' next fight at 175 pounds. Robert has an interesting theory about the motives behind Team Canelo's use of Gudzik as an opponent for Benavidez. They will be getting important intelligence on Benavidez' style and his overall talent. If Benavidez struggles against Gudzik, a fighter that Canelo has used as a sparring partner, that will be a great sign. That will be a sign that he's beatable. Benavidez wants to fight the winner of the Benavidez versus Dimitri Bivol fight for the Undisputed Championship because there's a chance it would be staged in Saudi Arabia and he would make a lot of money. That's what they're saying. I don't know how big that fight would be, but who knows? But that's Robert Garcia saying that, he's fighting Canelo's main sparring partner for the last 3 years, and he can get some intel on him. I mean, listen, this strategy. Just like the NBA, the NFL, does he go left? What's his favorite move? Listen, you're going to collect intel on these individuals, and I believe Canelo has already started to assess the strength and weaknesses of Benavidez and how to attack him. And again, like the fact that he's fighting someone that Canelo's a sparring partner of, it is rather interesting, and it kind of adds to the storyline. Somebody said, "Good." Javon, I can't even say his name, isn't being used as a test case by Team Canelo. That's not what this is. He's ranked number 2 in the WBC. So he's the guy Benavidez can fight to become the mandatory champion or the Benavidez. But granted, even saying that, it does seem like it's leading to a possibility now because of how close that is. That's one of Canelo's main sparring partners. So I do believe we're going to get this fight sometime in 2025. I believe May of 2025, next year, barring anything crazy. I believe it's going to happen. I don't think it go. If it doesn't happen then I don't think it's ever going to happen. But I do believe it'll happen May of 2025. I don't believe it'll be September. I think Canelo takes another fight in September. I think Benavidez takes the winner of the Benavidez versus Bivol fight and just makes it that much more interesting and bigger of a fight. So that's just pretty much how I feel about the whole situation. I do believe it's going to take close to $100 million to make this fight happen, and that's just being honest. It's the smart business move for me for Canelo, and Benavidez is making the best business moves that they believe for them. So on that note, I'm gonna let y'all rock out. Just want to do a quick short show. We don't have any callers and stuff like that, and we're gonna keep it rocking from here on out, man. I'll be back on tomorrow, 12 o'clock, with a co-host, and we're gonna get shit shaking. It's your boy Norbs, and this is the 10A podcast. We are out.